Hi, Andy Herringshaw with Tractor Innovations. Today I'm in Corbett, Oregon to show you the installation of a remote hydraulic kit on this New Holland TC55 DA tractor. This kit is absolutely the most affordable and easiest way to get a set of remote hydraulics on your tractor. Today we're going to be installing these to the rear of the tractor. He has a hay bine and some other equipment for haymaking that he likes to run off of this tractor. But this kit can power lots of different things. You can also run the hoses to the front to power a grapple or other implement on the front, lots of snow blades and other things I hear from people using. Also on the rear, you could put a hydraulic top link on your tractor. I sell these on my website, lots of different sizes for these mid-size and small tractors. Check that out, my website is listed right here below. Today, this is going on a New Holland tractor, but I build these for Kubota, John Deere, lots of makes and models out there. The installation today is going on the 17LA loader. This is going to be an identical installation on the 16 and 18 model LA loaders as well. Several different sizes of New Holland tractors that those go on. With just a few simple hand tools, we're going to be able to mount this bracket and run the hoses. All simple, just clicking it into quick couplers. We're not really opening up your hydraulic system or anything. This kit comes absolutely complete with all the hardware you need. Bracket to mount the switching valve, bracket to mount the couplers in the rear, and all the hoses, fittings, everything you need. Let's get started. The first step to installing this remote hydraulic kit is going to be installing the valve mounting bracket onto this black loader socket. This socket stays with the tractor even if you take the loader off. So your valve is going to be mounted here. You will have access to your remotes even if you take the loader off. I had the customer sit in the seat on the tractor and feel about what height this valve would feel good to him. And it looked like it was about halfway in between these two holes lined up with the top of this loader socket. So I'm going to line it up here, and I've got two holes down at the bottom. I'm going to drill and tap the holes for that. This kit does come with the drill and the tap and the screws to hold that on. So let's go through those steps now. Okay, I've got the drill bit from the tap set in my drill. As anytime you're drilling, make sure there's nothing behind there that's sensitive. Here I can see down to the back, and just don't shove through too hard, of course, to hurt your loader here. But we're just going to do these two small holes, and then we'll tap them out. Now I've got the tap from the hardware kit, and you may be able to chuck this up into a power tool. I'm out here in the field and just don't have the right thing to get this little square bit. If you've got a 12-point socket, that'll go in really nice. I do happen to have a 12-point wrench, 7mm or 1/4 inch, and it'll fit in there just nicely. I'm going to disconnect one of the hydraulic fittings and get just a touch of oil on my hand so I can lubricate these threads. Before you disconnect any hydraulics, with the engine off, move that loader lever to all the positions, lower your 3-point hitch, do everything to get the hydraulic pressure out of the tractor. Okay, I'm learning with this hardened steel and thick metal, do just a little bit of turn at a time, move in, move out, keep it working, you'll get your threads. Before I do the next hole, I'm going to dab a little more oil on there so it keeps lubricated. Okay, the holes are tapped. I made mistakes, but I ended up being able to finish it with this broken tap and a pair of vice grips. As you make these holes, twist just a little bit to get a cut, back it out. Cut a little, back it out. A couple times while you're making it, back it completely out, get rid of those shavings, add a little more oil, you can get these holes made. Alternatively, this bracket could, you could put a couple little spot welds, have it right there in place if drilling and tapping is not for you. I've got my bolts out of the hardware kit, and these are nice short shoulder bolts, and they've got a little bit of serration here on the back side of the flange to keep them from backing out, so you don't need a lock washer with these. I've got a 1/2-inch socket queued up, so let's mount this bracket. The next step is to mount this valve onto the bracket. So I've got my hardware bag out of the kit, and I'm going to dump it out into this magnetic tray. What I'm looking for to mount the valve are the two 2.5-inch bolts, lock washers, flat washers, and nuts, 2 of each of those. Slip the flat washer onto the bolts, and then I've got my lock washers and nuts handy. Take your valve, and you can drop those bolts in just like that. I do like a washer on the valve side. That ends up looking really good. Take it up and slide those bolts through the bracket, and we're ready to put lock washers and nuts on the backside. Tighten the bolts with a 1/2-inch ratchet and backer wrench. All right, now we're ready to hook up the loader hydraulics. Taking a look at the quick couplers here on the tractor, we've got red and blue on the top. Those are the dump circuit on this tractor. Green and yellow on the bottom are the lift circuit on this tractor. He's hoping to run hay equipment and things off of the back of the tractor, so I'm going to suggest he hook this up to the lift circuit. That's going to give him maximum power for lifting an implement. If you hook this up to the dump circuit, that's often appropriate for the front of a tractor. Say you want to run a grapple or a snow blade or something else and still be able to lift the entire bucket and angle something at the same time. That works really well. But the dump circuit has what's called the regenerative circuit in it, meaning when you try to extend the cylinders, when you push right on the loader lever, it is actually applying pressure to both sides of the hydraulic cylinder, and you have less pushing capacity. You will still have full clamping, retracting capability with a cylinder hooked up to the dump circuit, but on a dump circuit, often you have less power extending the cylinder. So that is the yellow and green here on the bottom. If these colors have broken off, if you're not quite sure, literally put your hand on this is the lift cylinder here, trace this hose all the way back. Make sure you know which connectors you are disconnecting. If you happen to get them crossed, happen to get one from one circuit, one from the other, sometimes it will work totally normally with your knob in, and then you go pull the knob out and it acts funny. Luckily, you can't hurt the tractor here. So, you know, if we got these backwards something, you're not going to be deadheading the pump or anything else like that. Try the best you can. If something is acting funny, you can fix it later. So we are doing green and yellow. You'll see up on the switching valve, one is on the top, one is on the bottom. I usually like to do these one at a time so that we can't get anything backwards, but take a look. We've got hoses in these protective sleeves. It's going to make a whole lot more sense to move these both at the same time. So I'm going to disconnect green and yellow. Green is on top, so when we go hook it up top, green is going to be on top there as well. Before you disconnect anything, remember, even if you did it earlier, move your loader lever to all the positions. This is not just for safety of something moving, but also if there's pressure in there, even just a hose sitting in the sun can create pressure inside a hose, and that's going to make it really hard to connect later. If you have any trouble connecting a coupler, almost every time there's pressure in one side or the other, and you may need to relieve that by tapping the little poppet on either side. Let's disconnect these two couplers, move them up top, and hook them in. All right, I've got the hoses disconnected down below, and I'm gonna try to find a nice routing where they can be relaxed as they connect back here to the switching valve. I think what makes the most sense here is to put a little loop in these hydraulic hoses. That's better than really making a harsh bend down and a harsh bend back up. We're just gonna put a little loop in it right there. and green needs to go on the top, yellow on the bottom, and I'm just going to click them right in. I was having a little hard time connecting this, and I had to push in on the little poppet there. It had just the littlest bit of pressure. Careful doing that. If you should have glasses on anytime you're messing with these couplers and any chance of pressure. All right, the hoses are connected from the switching valve to the loader cylinders. Now I need to take the hoses that connect from the switching valve to the tractor. And as I look down at this switching valve, this lower coupler connects to this front outlet hose here. So I'm gonna trace that hose. The lower one, the green, goes to this front hose. So I'm gonna take this hose back down, connect it into the green. Look in here and make sure I get them lined up. Green is connected. Now let's go do yellow. The green is connected below. Now I'm going to take the yellow, which is the lower one on the couplers here. It'll make sense when you're looking at it. And it's going to connect back down to the yellow. Connect the yellow hose down below. And that's it. This tractor is plumbed in. The switching valve is plumbed in to the loader circuit. Now all we need to do is take these remote couplers and take them to their final location, whether that's the front of the tractor for a grapple or the rear for other implements. To get these hoses to their final location, I'm going to trace these hoses down and find a routing, often along existing hydraulic lines or other piece of structure like this lower subframe, that's going to allow me to zip tie these hoses out of the way of branches and things underneath the tractor, away from, I see some brake hardware, some other pieces that move underneath the tractor. I also see a hydraulic filter under there. I want to stay away from that so the maintenance in the future is not going to be a problem. But take your time here, keep the hoses straight, not twisted all over the place. You can get a really nice professional looking install. Okay, I've got my hoses run to the back of the tractor. I'm inside the roll bar, above the axle, really protected location. I've taken my time to make sure the hoses are straight, not twisted all over the place. And now I'm ready to mount them in a bracket. The kit comes with this T-bracket that is going to accept a coupler onto it. And we've got a U-bolt that goes over the coupler and into the bracket, just like that. One important thing to note is that this inner piston has to be able to flex forward and back about 3/8 of an inch. So I don't want to mount this with this part of the coupler, or on some tractors this is just a hose coming out of it. You have to be able to flex this about 3/8 of an inch. So as I find a location, I'm going to bolt this and leave at least 3/8 of an inch for that to flex. Looking around on this tractor, I could mount here to the fender, but that's fiberglass and would keep it really close to the tire. I've got some structural metal under here I'd rather not drill to. We do have this little toolbox right here, and I believe, yeah, I can just drill a hole in the bottom of that toolbox and be able to mount the couplers up here. This is a really nice, safe location away from the 3-point parts. They come up to about here, so we'll be off to the side, away from the tire. That's a really nice location. Couplers will mount to the bottom of this bracket, and they'll have enough room to not hit anything in the rear. So this is where I'm gonna install them. I've got a 5/16 drill bit chucked up. I could mark or try to figure it out, but I think I'm just gonna hold this up and run the drill right through it. Now from the hardware kit, I'm going to take the short 1-inch bolt, lock washer and nut, and I've got a flat washer in there too. Might as well spread that load out just a little bit. So I'm going to put the bolt in from the bottom side, nut and lock washer inside. Tighten that up with 1/2-inch wrenches. Before I leave the back of the tractor, I like to take one of the couplers, make sure I put it in and out of each one of these couplers on the tractor. So here I've got one on a hose, and with the outer sleeve attached to this bracket, all I have to do is shove a male tip into this coupler. It will spring forward and latch, just like that. And to release it, just yank. A reminder here, as you're attaching this bracket, you do not have to crank these things super tight. I've seen some cranked so tight that they limit the flexibility of the couplers going in and out. But tighten just like that, the coupler just slides in and out. First time you do this, they might be a little dry. A dab of oil may help lubricate those O-rings, but it should be just that simple. Now you can put your knob onto the valve. And I normally do this very early in the installation, but I was at the back of the tractor, noticed this was still in my magnetic bowl, and actually used this washer instead of one of the 5/16 washers. This one is a 3/8. So I knew I had things out of order. Okay, lock washer onto your knob, thread it into the piston, and often this piston will start to turn before it's as tight as you want it to go. So get as tight as it'll go by hand, and then you can take a pair of vice grips and grab onto the piston, but do not grab onto the piston inside the circlip where it has to go into the valve. You can grab on the outside of the circlip, so I like to shove it in, and the piston's just a little bigger than the rest of these parts, so you can just grab it right there, give your knob that final twist, and it's tight. You can operate that piston in and out. Well, there you have it, the simplest and most affordable way to get a set of remotes on your tractor. With a simple push or pull of this knob, you activate the remotes and you control those remotes from your loader control lever. You give up one of your loader functions to run these remotes, and you get to choose whether that's the lift function or the dump function. Whatever you have this hooked up to, when you select away from the loader, it's just going to hold the loader function in place while you operate the other piece. Today this was on a New Holland, but I build these for all different makes and models of tractor. Check out my website right here below. It has pages for all the different tractors. There's also a universal kit if you just got something funky. Give me a call. We'll figure out how to get a kit for it. Stay tuned. I'll show you a demo on a different tractor. I don't have an implement to hook up to this one today, so I'll show you on a different tractor. Thanks for watching. All right, let me show you how this kit works. I've got the knob pushed in right now, which means I get totally normal loader function. I have lift function and dump function. Of course, with the engine off, I'm only going to get things that move down. So when I pull out on the knob and want to run my hydraulic remote, now my lift function is frozen in place on the tractor, and up and down movement on the loader lever is going to control my top link. Let me start the engine and show you that with the engine on. We'll start with the knob in for totally normal loader function. With my knob in, I can lift, I can dump, I can do all the normal things with my loader. And when I'm ready to activate my remote, pull out on it, and I have control of the hydraulic top link. If I'm done working on the rear, want to go back to my loader, just push in on the loader lever, and I've got complete control again.